What is up, everyone? Today I bring to you my dirty ass garage. I take great pride in my garage, but it is a disaster right now and it makes me sick. I'm going to redo it eventually, hopefully soon. For now, I had the list of broken cars. We have a 2000 Mark 6 GTI that has a misfire and is smoking like a son of a bitch. It smells like raw fuel coming out of the tailpipe or a lawnmower. He has the fuel injector stuck open, and I am going to remove the intake manifold. I have this A4, which currently is just being a turd. It is not. I think the thermostat's not opening. I don't know. I'm gonna get started on this Mark 6 right here and get this done. Try to knock this out tonight, replacing all 4 fuel injectors, and go. All right, so I'm gonna start with removing these because they are freaking in my way a little bit. I'm gonna have to move this thing. It is hitting my head. Alright, so pull this fuel line out of the way. Remove your oil filter. Remove this N80 valve. Unplug your intake air temperature sensor. Unplug your throttle body. Get the out of the way. A nice little tray. Unplug this. Remove your hose clamp. Sometimes you get pliers on there and just kind of twist it. It makes it a ton easier to remove. And you got T30 over here. Remove that T30. And there's one under here. Remove that T30. And you got this little, both of these connectors here. There's 2 T30s. Shorter T30s go here. The long ones go there. And do this. I mean, you don't have to do this way. This is the way I just like doing it. Just moving this. You just kind of twist these connectors and slide them out a little bit. Just personal preference on how I do it. There. And then unplug these to your fuel injectors, and then remove this vacuum line. If I could get that yet. Okay, this vacuum line. That's 6 on. I just use a pick and get underneath it, and then drop it. Then unplug the cam sensor, undo your pressure hose for the turbo, do that, pull it out of the way, and the filter's done draining right now. $17 for your fuel line to the pump. And it's going to spray fuel everywhere. Don't be scared. It's not too bad, I guess. Okay, and then you're going to have to remove this charge piping right here. Sometimes if your car's warm enough, you can actually just take this piece off, but it's pretty stuck. It's just easier sometimes to pull the whole charge piping off. But I'm gonna try without it. I'm gonna try to remove show you the shortcut way. 7mm for the hose clamp. That. Doesn't always work. Sometimes this thing is really stuck on there. It helps to get a flathead screwdriver in between the hose and the throttle body. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this one. This one's pretty stuck on there. T30 down here for the charge piping. And there's also one under the car. If this pipe's never been removed before, it's really a pain in the butt to get off. Pretty hard to just do this section, but saves a lot of time. Then you have your T30s for the throttle body. You're gonna need a little extension of some sort, or if you're unless to get in there, because this connector piece is pretty it's kind of in the way, so it's hard to get up there. Should be 4 of these long ones coming out. Off. Watch for the circle, the green gasket. Make sure it doesn't fall down, the one for the throttle body, because it can get pinched and cause an air leak, and you're going to take it back off again. Alright, so the next is the bracket underneath. So let me kind of flashlight here. Probably check on the before. So the bracket's right there. So you got the triple square down there, and the the 13mm right. So you got this one, and then this one goes down to the 12 point. So you use an extension, and I believe it's a 10 mil. Gonna have to double check. It should be a 10. Use an extension, pretty long. It's probably about 6-7 inches. Get in there. Get the A4 still running over there. Out. Now, depending if you have a CBFA or a CCTA, this bracket can be a pain in the butt to get out because I have to kind of explain it when I get it out. So you'll go to try to slide it off the intake manifold, but it won't really go drop down. So you got to be careful not to break off the. There's a sensor down here that the CBFAs have that it hits. You'll be doing water pump. You break it. So what happens is this is slid onto the stud for the intake, and under here is an extra sensor if you have a CBFA, so it doesn't really want to go down. So you kind of got to turn it to the side and go down, or else you'll snap it off and then you'll be really screwed. So now we're going to take the T30s off for the intake manifold. You've got 4 T30s on the top, and then you got 2 T30s in the most center section, but they're like right here underneath it. There's a little passageway to get your extension and T30 through. Drop another hole. Like taking these out with a magnet if you got one. That's not a piece of crap. This piece of crap. So yeah, we're at 13 minutes. Somebody has had this manifold off before. Let me clip this thing in here. You have 2 10mm nuts on the sides. And I'll show you what. So the manifold's going to come off one of 2 ways. Either going to come off with the injectors, or 3 ways, let's say, with the injectors, without the injectors, or a mixture of both. So you got to unplug the high pressure sensor underneath here. High pressure sensor, I'll show you when I get the manifold off. And then there's also the flat solenoid that needs to be unplugged. And you can pull off your manifold. So I got all 4 injectors stayed in here. So what we have here is, so usually this harness is broken. Probably, yeah, it's broken. But this harness, this one right here, has these tabs that go through these holes right here. Right there and right there. And you gotta just come from the top and pinch them with a screwdriver or something, push them, and then it'll pop out. And then also right here, this is the flapper solenoid for your intake flaps. So you gotta unplug that one, and then your high pressure sensor has to be unplugged. So all the injectors came with the manifold. So what I'm gonna do is going to pull up the manifold. So you got this sensor. All right, so pull up the manifold and you have your injectors plugged in still. And your runner position sensor over here. And then, so these are the injectors. 4 of them. So these are kind of a pain in the ass to get out of here. They can be because the O-ring's really holding in there. So I just take a focus here. So I take a screwdriver between the top half, and you can turn the screwdriver and pull on the injector. Probably when you get one out, then a bunch of fuel is going to come out too. So. The O-ring. Whoops. So one thing you also have to check for is the O-ring will stay inside of the rail. So if you have a new injector which has a new O-ring already, you'll jam it on and you'll squish this. Or what I like to do is I always install the injectors in the engine first, and then the O-rings on the injectors. And you have to make sure you lube up the with some kind of silicone, lube up the injectors, the O-rings, the blue ones. Or don't use grease because it'll deteriorate them. And then I install them in the head first, and then put the manifold on. So these are a pain in the ass to get out. And if you don't lube them up, you're gonna pinch it, and then you're gonna be screwed. And that's gonna leak fuel. See, that one stayed in the rail too. Retaining spring for the injector. So we're going ahead and we're just replacing all the injectors on this car. So I'm kind of just manhandling them out of there. So all 4 of the seals stayed in here. So then you just got to get something to pick them out with. The flathead screwdriver. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll grab the fuel injectors. It's gonna smell like fuel really bad too, so don't be worried. New injector is, so that they don't come with everything. So here's the injector, here's the old one. So you have to transfer this thing and this black thing right here. Be careful, because if you don't have a rebuild kit, these legs like to snap off. So just lightly pull on them and then pull the pull them up. So just break them off. Put that one down for now. I believe I have a bunch of rebuild kits. So you take that off like that, put it on this one, and that one's ready to be installed after you install this. I guess just for whatever, I'll show you how to install this. I don't have the O-ring kit installer right here. So you have your slide hammer with the puller to pull them, and then that thing, oh, see, I never used it. Then you have this. So what you have here is, you install this as a little dimple for the fit over the end. You get your white Teflon piece, you slide it over, and then it'll slide over to here. It'll be really loose. So you grab the biggest one of these, and then it'll be kind of a little hard, not totally hard, and then it'll shrink it down a little bit, and then you just keep stepping down to the one next size that fits. So this one doesn't fit at all. So this is to push it over. And then you would go down to the next one, and then see that one's kind of tough. So you would just do that a little 4 or 5 times, and then I'll shrink it down enough to where it'll be nice and seated in there, and then you'll be able to slide it in the cylinder head. Pretty easy, pretty basic. Just take your time with that one. Just get a razor blade and cut the old ones off if you'll be using them. Got some, so it looks like number 4, or yeah, number 4. You'll be able to see here was the one that wasn't firing. So it's got a puddle of fuel in there. Ugh, it's really hard to see. There's like a puddle of fuel, so that's all wet. These are all dry. Gosh, it's dry. That's all wet. So those ones were, that's the one that was stuck open, number 4. Lights for a second. I need some air. And also, this is the round green one. This is the throttle body one. So sometimes it likes to fall out. So make sure that it didn't fall out and you don't pinch it. And if you're replacing your intake manifold, you just kind of swap everything over to the other one. You just loosen everything and swap it over, and it's really not too bad. They're kind of, they don't really like to go in too easy, I guess you could say. So I could use the remover and installer tool to install the new ones, but I'm just gonna, most people won't have that. So you can just kind of give them a nice little tap with a screwdriver, something soft, and it'll slide right in. Piece. One thing I like to use is for installation is Vaseline, because then when it gets hot it kind of liquefies and goes away. I use it on usually all seals, or some kind of silicone, maybe WD-40. Would never use grease on seals, rubber at all. Even when you're doing, like if you're doing a BFI insert or something, you don't want to use grease because it's gonna mess everything up in the long run, make it all mushy. So now that they're in almost all the way, just so this is the remover and installer. You can also use a hammer, like a little ball peen, or maybe something not so strong. But I mean, you can see that I get stuck there. That's right, these hit those studs. Forgot about that. little thing of engine oil on my finger. Even this isn't like very slick, but it should. If you're really forcing it on when you're installing it, then I would back off. Because you don't want to, if you just force it on, it doesn't really slide on really easy, then you're probably pinching the O-rings. Don't forget to plug your fuel injectors in. Like I have done plenty of times. This part right here, these two clips, they'll clip on underneath here. One right here. Hopefully, let's see. They'll clip on right here when you got it slid it on. So these will also like to get crushed in there and keep you from installing it. So kind of put your hand under here and hold this out of the way. Then plug your flap. So you do yourself a favor and plug your flap sensor in. First thing, because that's a pain in the butt to plug in too. There's one sensor here, a long wire that runs. I don't know where it went. Just so this one right here, this long one goes up through the little 3 pin. So that one goes up through here. Yeah, there's a little clip here. So I got that in there. So I got my, I think I'm gonna put some more oil on those. Today we're gonna reveal the top 5 YouTube. No, just kidding. So it turns out that I never recorded the end of the intake manifold install. I guess I stopped recording and I just didn't get it. So that is the end of that video. This is a different day. I was just editing it and then I realized that it wasn't. There was nothing there. There was it just ended. Don't know what happened with that. It's kind of lame. Essentially, just install in reverse order. That's all the information they give you when you work for the dealer. Install in reverse order. So there's that, and look, hung up my old VW certificates there, and a clutch fly-out disc just chilling up there. The wheel, my AMG wheel, that's been up there, I think. Cleaned up a little bit. Well, I tried. Well, that's super lame, and I'm super bummed out. But I hope that what I do have helped somebody, anybody. Tell me why. Cool. I don't know if I have anything coming up soon. I have another clutch. I don't know what. I have no subscribers really, so I don't know what anybody wants to see. I'm really trying with the video editing. And getting a little better at it. Not really. I still suck, but it's getting easier for me. So editing them doesn't take me as long. I cleaned up my toolbox too. A little bit. Right there. A little stuff there. Alright, intake for sale. Forge. Let me know if you want to buy it. Alright then.